What is up? Welcome to the channel today, guys. We're with Brandon Copeland, aka the Midwest Kong. We're gonna get into his story. He's gonna tell us his journey from mixed martial artist to strength coach, his background in anti-bullying. He's an author, all this stuff. We have an absolutely inspirational character here today, guys. So we're gonna dive into it right now. Thank you for coming onto the show. This is a long time waiting. This will be the first one of many because I will be doing something with him in person, but it will not be anybody's jujitsu at all because we're not doing that. So sorry. Everyone else is cool with that, but I'm not wrestling around with 290-pound, 5'8" black belt jujitsu. Not happening. So appreciate you coming on the channel, man. It's an absolute honor to have you here, boss.
First of all, man, before I even tap in, I want to say, due to the things I've been through in my life, time is everything. So when people take the time to, even from down to people commenting on videos, sharing videos, and taking the time out their day to help, this is helping, me and on your platform, which, believe it or not, man, I know a lot of people say these things, but this is true story. I was following you back when you was in Greg house working out. You know what I mean? Or, so I remember, man, I used to be like, dude, this dude got so much information. And I believe you had like 60K, I believe, when I started. Not take a break from the social media world. But I never really had Instagram, but I've always did the YouTube thing. And now I see you at over, 500,000, which is dope, man. So you putting the time to put me on your platform is greatly appreciated, man.
Oh, that's right. Appreciate you, man. I always like, I have this thing where I collaborate with people who I believe, it might sound cheesy, but I look at we could have been friends in another lifetime. I mean, we're developing a relationship now, but it's like I always gravitate towards people that, people that I grew up with, the same type of personality, same beliefs, same, values and whatnot. So it's almost like inevitable that, we gravitate to each other quite naturally. So, it's an honor you have coming on my channel. So thank you. But yeah, we want to get to know you because I know you from just my own, just watching you, and then, but no one, from my channel, I don't know how many people know exactly who you are, but I wanted to understand who you are, where you came from, tell your story because we all have a story. And I believe that it's a part of our journey that we, let everybody know, the journey because there's somebody out there that's going to have something that's similar to yours or that can hear a story and need that inspiration to keep moving forward because not everything's going to be smooth sailing. So let's get in right away. How this all starts. I mean, we just said 290-pound, 5'8" black belt jujitsu. You're also a record holder in 225 bench press. You lift the world. So let's get into how'd that all start.
Well, we start from the beginning. Jiu-Jitsu came from, we grew up in the neighborhood, the hood, whatnot. And, back in the day, I'm 43. So back in the day, football, natural wrestling. We didn't know nothing. We just knew to slam somebody. We all get out there and get going. And we kind of developed this natural instinct of where not to be. Don't let anybody get to your back. Don't nobody let you do this. And then growing up and getting into, understanding wrestling and stuff like that, to be honest with you, it's funny. It's funny because this is an old myth, right? We was growing up in the hood, man. No white dude was whooping our butt, right? Period. We wasn't getting whooped by no white dude. And I'm gonna just tell you, some of the toughest dudes I've ever met in my life growing up was white dudes. But growing up in that time, no white dude can beat you up because we always looked at them as they got it so easy, right? And it's interesting. Evander Holyfield told a story about that too on Vlad TV about him having the same mentality until he got whooped by a white guy. But in the hood, man, we thought wrestling, if you wear a singlet, you a punk or blah, blah, blah. So we really didn't adapt to the sports that our God-gift athletic talent could let us excel in. So when I got introduced to jiu-jitsu, it was and at the time I was like 240. And when I got introduced to jiu-jitsu, it was 2005. I had just came off of being almost murdered, honestly. I was stabbed 9 times in 2004. And it was so we could touch on that when we get back to that. But this is the jiu-jitsu portion.
Yeah.
So I just needed something, man. Like mental health is a big thing for me. Seeing certain things in my life as a young age, murders and stuff like that as a young age. People breaking into our, me and my mother's duplex when I was young. We walking in on it and her running. Like I've seen these types of things. So I was a very aggressive dude. Violence was so natural. It was like taking a piss. I met this white guy, man, little dude named Brian Sonery. Shout out to Brian, man. Arrogant cat, right? That's my guy to this day, my boy. But he was an arrogant little dude. And the reason why is because he knew he could whoop my ass, right? So he was like, hey, man, why don't you try, jiu-jitsu or whatnot? I had another buddy, Eric Wilson, who was a kickboxer. He said, well, let's try it with him. And I'm going to tell you what, man, that little dude was like 5'6". He was 100 and probably 70 pounds. And when he got a hold of me, he felt like he was a 400-pound man. And when I was helpless and the things he did to control me, and I couldn't do nothing with him, and he didn't take it easy on me either. He was whooping my ass, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have to know this, and I stuck with it ever since. I
Yeah.
was like, nope. There's human beings out here that do this. I'm going to have to be able to do, because Johnny, I'm gonna be real. I used to be the kid in the hood that fought all the older dudes.
Yeah.
Like I was that dude. You know what I mean? And I was a little guy too, bro. I was a small dude with big feet. Everybody thought I was gonna be like 6'2". I stopped at 5'8". But I was that's just that guy. And very, very insecure, because I was a little dude. I had a big head and a little body. So I would get people cracked on me all the time. But I was taking butt whoopings from older people, and I was beating up people that was my age. So I was like the guy, right? So when I get older, now I'm being a bouncer. I'm, street stuff. I never carried guns and nothing like that. But I was a wild guy. Our circumstances made me pretty much a menace, so to speak. Right? Not a gangster, but I was just a menace. Like I would fight on the drop of a dime. So I started bouncing, and then I was roughing people up in the club. Like people get to acting up, and I never went out and started fights. Never done that. However, I didn't let shit go either.
Yeah.
And that was a problem. I was a stalker. You know what I mean? I was very childish. So when I met him and I realized that this is not only is he not stronger than me, he's smaller than me and he's smarter than me. So now this is no longer fighting. This is an actual art. This is actually what martial arts are. This is why they're called martial arts, right? There's an art form to this. And when I realized that, I never had an ego in jiu-jitsu. Never.
No.
I literally would go out and I would only train with the upper belts. I hated training with white belts because my athleticism and my strength would get over.
Yeah.
So I would go with the older belts, the blue belts, the purple belts, brown belts, black belts, which was very rare back then in the early 2000s in my area. Well, shit, in America in general. You didn't have too many black belts around. So I would train with these guys and they would kill me. So then when we go to tournaments, they're like, you ready to compete? It was like 3 months. I said, yep. They're like, you sure? Some wrestling background. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
And I would go into the advanced tournaments and get scraped up. Dude, I didn't win a jiu-jitsu match for like a year and a half because I would go in the higher skill level, and I would just get tore up, bro. Like I'm talking, I ain't lasting 3 minutes. But
Yeah.
the more and more I got, I'll win a match, last a little longer, take second, and then I went on a streak, man. For 9 years, I didn't lose a match.
Wow.
So I always was looking for those challenges, even as a kid. And what jiu-jitsu did for me was start making me a thinker.
Yeah.
It started making me think about the moves, and you can't use this. And one of my biggest compliments is how smooth I am as a bigger guy
Yeah.
I can train with anybody. A lot of guys can't train with 120-pound women up to 400-pound men. A lot of guys can't. I've never hurt anybody during training. I've always been smooth because I wanted to be technical. I always want to be what is not expected. When people see me, they're like, "Oh, here it come down tournament." It's different.
Yeah.
The tournament is game time, but training to get the fluidity of the movements, to understand the movements, you have to have some sort of flow with it, and that's one thing I have thrived on. So my biggest compliment from a lot of high level black belts was, man, how smooth I was training. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
where jiu-jitsu came from, and it's been a part of my life. Like I said, in February, it'd be 2004. Yeah, it'd be 20 years.
Wow. You 20 years. You're an instructor, I would assume.
I've taught. What happened was the dark side of jiu-jitsu is the political side, and I ran into a lot of that. Right now, I train jiu-jitsu 40 minutes away from my house, which is kind of hindering my schedule because of what I'm doing currently in the fitness industry, what I have to do now.
Yeah.
But I will drive 40 minutes away from my house 3 days a week, bro, because the political thing in jiu-jitsu, when jiu-jitsu was new in our area, it was no games. Now you hearing horror stories like people make fun of me. They call me the 50 Cent of jiu-jitsu because a lot of guys don't like me. And I'm old school, bro. I'll go knock at the door of the academy, like, let's wrap it up. What's up? Like, because I don't like people getting mistreated.
Yeah.
As much as an idiot I was when I was growing up, I learned a lesson of how to treat people. And I see a lot of these black belts, a couple in particular around my area, who think that. I always tell people, jiu-jitsu they don't need jujitsu. We need them to like jujitsu, right? People can go their whole life and never train jujitsu. That's fine. They'll live a happy life. They'll
Yeah.
go on and do whatever they got to do. But when you act like this is what they need and you treat somebody like, you can't do that, man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people come to the door for different reasons.
Yeah.
Self defense. People might, women been or some type of like all these things. Man, you can't treat people like trash. And I've seen it too much. So
Yeah.
I'll go to a guy, Professor Ty Williams. Shout out to my Road Jiu Jitsu. He's a former Olympian triathlon in the Atlanta Games.
Wow.
Good dude, runs a great kids program, which is huge for me. And I drive 35 minutes, 40 minutes to go see him, man. You
Wow.
know?
Wow. Wow. That's whew. That's big. I mean, it's almost like similar to like, fitness. You know what I mean? Like people can go the whole life. I mean, you do need fitness, but like regardless, the benefits of just doing jiu-jitsu anyway on a cardio standpoint is just phenomenal anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But it should be a space where, you know what I mean, people are going there because they've had something in their life that they're trying to overcome, or it should be a safe haven or some place that they can go and be motivated, not feel like they're an outsider. And there's a lot of that in the fitness industry as well too. I'm
Yes,
sure you
sir.
didn't want to know about that as well too, obviously.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, big ups to you for doing that. I mean, you need that. You know what I mean? Like I feel like the same way sometimes, all the time. I feel like for fitness is something I have to protect. You know what I mean? It's for those people who want to come into this spot, and it's something where they
Mm-hmm.
should have someone that's there to, stand up for them because again, like this industry is very different where you can, you want to come in for one expectation and they'll find out there's nothing you expected at all, and then all of a sudden
That is a fact. That is a
everything's
fact.
tarnished from that, right? So
Yep.
yeah.